everybody, Elisa here with another Vera Bradley bag of the day. Today I thought I would, I'm trying to make use of oh, there she goes, stealing a toy. I'm trying to make use of the little window of opportunity I have here to knock out a couple of videos before I had to get back to work. And so I thought I would show a pattern I haven't shown yet. It's been out for a bit. And I love this pattern. This is Rainforest Toile, which is like the performance twill sister of Rainforest Canopy. This is the Utility Tote. That's a non-quilted cotton. But just to have the two side by side, so you can see they're quite different, but related. There are related elements in this sort of tropical look. I think this is an interesting pattern because it's a toile, and I love a good toile. I have a hard time resisting toile. I think it's stemming back from when I was younger. I got, my aunt gave me a whole bunch of her dresses. It must have been from like the 50s or something. These real cute retro dresses, and I used to wear them to school because we were into wearing vintage clothing, and one of them was a beautiful toile pattern. Now, a toile, for people who may not know, be familiar with that term, toile can mean a couple of things. Like, I think initially it referred to just a kind of a fabric, like a lightweight, inexpensive cotton or linen type fabric. Often it was used to make like a prototype of a garment. So since it was inexpensive and they're just sort of mocking up a garment, they would use a toile, and it was just didn't refer to the pattern printed on the fabric at all. But there's another term called, I don't know if I'm going to say this right. I think it's toile de jouy. And that refers to this type of a pattern, a toile pattern, which initially was usually only a white or an off-white ground, and then a pastoral scene on it in one color, various values of that one color. So it had a real kind of monochromatic look. And so a toile still, even today, even though you start to see toiles with background colors that aren't white, or that make use of a combination of one or two colors to make the pattern, you're still seeing a very limited color palette, and usually a pastoral scene or floral scene. But I mean, I think historically it started out, they were sort of pastoral scenes, and that's what was on my dress. It was an off-white background with this red, really rich, like deep pink color. It was just gorgeous. I don't know what happened to it. I mean, I can't imagine I would have just gotten rid of it. I would have kept it, for sentimental reasons. But this is my father's sister, but who recently passed away, unfortunately. So I don't know what I did with that dress, but I loved that dress. Anyway, so I think that started my fondness for toile. Also kind of reminds me of like the printing you see on, like vintage china. Anyway, so this is an interesting palette, and I will show a color wheel because so you've got this sort of grayish khaki background, and then you've got details that are dropping out white, which is interesting. And so the whole thing kind of looks like a photo negative. For people who are old enough to remember film, I am. raise your hand. If you know what a film canister is. And you're used to looking at negatives. I did study photography. And so you're used to looking at negatives, black and white negatives, and also color negatives. This kind of harks back to that. It kind of gives you that visual look because of those elements that are dropping out white. And then there's basically just this deep navy, some little bits of light blue, and a yellow tone and like a peach tone. There are critters here, and of course that was what was driving me with this pattern. So you can see this monkey dropping out white. Also up here, the leopard, dropping out white. This is sloth. Has some yellow touches in it. I'm sure people are anxiously awaiting the sloth pattern, which is supposed to come out any minute now. I think it's called Hanging Around, and they did show us that in the focus group that I'm in a while back, and everyone was going crazy for it. If you like critters, like I do. Right, so the monkey, and on next to the monkey is this sort of chameleon, gecko, lizard kind of thing. And the bird somewhere, yeah. So, you know, I feel like this is a good piece of fabric to get in the pocket, you know, because it's got all the critters together there. And I am a crazy critter lady. So just to, I don't think there are snakes in here. I mean, there are these vines. At first I was looking at it and I was like, are there snakes in here? Because there are these, you know, like tree vines, you know, but I don't see any snake heads anywhere. But, you know, to be honest, I haven't really been looking that hard for snake heads. If they're there, you know, innocence is bliss. I'd rather not know. Oh, no, ignorance. Ignorance is bliss. And innocence, too. Okay, so the color wheel, before I forget, just because I thought this was interesting, because I was looking at this, and I do think this is a nice neutral. This kind of khaki gray background makes the bag elegant, I think, and because I'm partial to that kind of a color. But also, it's a good neutral. Even though it's not a solid color, I feel like this is a good neutral pattern, probably very flexible, very gives you can wear it with a greater range of things, I think. Especially in the smaller bags where they can even maybe look a little dressy. I mean, you're never going to carry this to a dressy occasion, but then so I started looking at it and wondering about the color relationship, which is something that maybe on a bag like this with what seems like a neutral, you might not, you know, you don't really think about the color, but there's something going on with the color here, and that's why it's working, I think. And so I have this color wheel here, and this is a bit more of a complex color wheel than your basic color wheel, and that's when they get kind of interesting. And this one does, hopefully, yeah, it shows enough. This one has a ring in here of neutrals, and those are formed by mixing black with a color, or white, or a combination thereof. And so you can see there are neutrals here that are made originally from reds and yellows and oranges. And that's what this is looking like to me, that this background color is a warm khaki kind of gray, so it's coming from a warm color source, like a red or an orange. And that's what you see here. It kind of does match this one in the orange family. And when you pull back a little bit and you look opposite it, the blue color family is opposite it, because blue and orange are complementary colors falling opposite on each other on the color wheel, and so they enhance each other. They flatter each other. And that's what's going on here. So you've got the blues, right? You've got these light blue and navy blue, but you've also got the yellows. Those are the complementary colors, and the background color related to that as well. So I was really, you know, I thought that was kind of interesting, and it did sort of make you say, aha, that's why they chose these colors, and that's why they're working, and I'm liking it even though it is kind of a subdued palette. Except for the inside, and I will try to empty this out, and hopefully I'll be able to turn it inside out. It's always sort of a challenge to turn these bags inside out, but I think it's worth it in this instance. But you can see that kind of vivid orange. Hi, Peach. Are you going to say hi? You haven't said hi in a video for a long time. Yeah. Okay. So in here, it's a Vera Tote, the Performance Twill. Same interior organization, six big slip pockets. You can see all my stuff in there. I won't spend too much time on the stuff. Just pull it out real quick. It does have that hidden slip pocket up top, which is nice. And the front is, hi, thanks for those lickies. Oh, thank you. Um, she's not usually so touchy-feely. Yeah, she's not so usual. Not usually, so. The styling on this newer Vera Tote is really great. I like it. Just for variety, you know, all the Vera Totes now don't look the same. So this is a little bit different. The quilting is, you know, the bigger, the macro square quilting as opposed to the regular size that you see on the cotton Vera Totes. And now it's got this bigger pocket here. It's a slip pocket with a zipper pocket, but it's much wider, you know, and that's nice. And then it's got these vertical seams, you know, bordering the pocket. This pocket is, you know, takes up this whole area, so it's a good size. And this great grosgrain ribbon pulls, you know, that always is a sort of a more deluxe kind of feeling. That grosgrain feels good, that texture of the grosgrain. And so on the back, you know, there's no pocket, but this seaming does sort of mirror what's going on in the front of the bag with these seams here, you know, and a seam here, even though there's not a pocket opening there. And the top, it's a top zipper like the other regular Vera Tote, and they're all those plastic zippers that now just look like the metal. I love these zippers. I love the way they work. They feel like high quality zippers to me. So inside I have all my typical stuff. Easy Pass, just plunked on top. And a pad and that paperback book cover, mini dome for some tissues and lip balm, you know, packable tote, hand sanitizer. That's why I like the Vera for all these pockets. Even though I never really felt like it's a deal breaker to not have pockets, but like I said in my previous video, or one of my previous videos with a utility tote, all of a sudden I was like, where are the pockets? The Vera Tote has got me so used to pockets, and I didn't know I needed them. And then the Vera Tote created a need for me. That's what happens, right, with marketing and everything. You don't have a need. You don't even know you need something. And then they create a need for you, and then they've got you hooked, and that's where we are now. I say, thinking about the nightmare that is my closet. Okay, so continuing. Pens in just a regular little pouch. My iPhone slipped in a pocket. My turn lock just shoved in there. Rainforest canopy wristlet with some gloves and masks, and GPS and a mini cosmetic. That's Dragon Fruit Floral. A Lighten Up, a medium cosmetic pouch. I think this is Lavender Botanical. I never remember what this is called. I do like it. And I love these. They flatten out nice and just slip in almost any bag. I keep my cords in there, charger cords in there. Eyeglass case, and a bunch of zip IDs with photos. So, you know, it's a good size. Good big opening. Okay, so the trick is, right, the fear is always that I'm going to turn this inside out, and in the process I'm going to cause the base to shift. I do wash these. People ask. I can't remember if I talked about that. Oh, my mind is like a sieve. I apologize if I'm repeating myself. I have washed Performance Twill in the washing machine, and it has gone through fine. I haven't washed this particular bag, but I have washed Performance Twill. And I know other people. I've washed the Vera Tote, went through fine. And I know people who have washed their Performance Twill backpacks, and they've gone through fine. Regular washing machine, regular detergent. I happen to use all those little pods. Delicate cycle, a gentle cycle, cold water, and air dry it. And regular spin cycle to get the water out, and then air dry. And sometimes when I air dry, I wrap up towels in plastic bags and shove them in just to have like create a form for the bag to dry around, and it helps it get a good shape. I don't always do that, depends on the bag and the situation. Like this I've been storing flat in my closet, so I might not bother. Okay, that wasn't too bad. This is a non-removable base, but it goes through fine. I would imagine it's some kind of thin plastic. So this color, I have a fondness for this gorgeous, happy, like luscious, sunny yellow. I mean, yellow is such a happy color. Um, Speaking of which, um, but I also have a fondness for this particular kind of a yellow because it reminds me of when I would go camping with my parents as a kid in upstate New York. My mother's sleeping bag was lined with a fabric. It was very silky, had a very silky hand and feel to it, and it was this color. And so I think this color is sort of, you know, jogging that memory for me, and I have even more of an affection for it. But I do like it just, you know, independent of that. It's a great, vivid color. And again, you know, so the same kind of color relationships that were going on the outside are going on the inside, just in a different proportion now. And and these little touches of this sort of vivid orange. This background color almost reminds me of like the cadmium yellow. If people are familiar with like paint pigment names, this kind of reminds me of the yellows you get in the cadmium yellow family, because there's cadmium yellow deep or dark or something, and then there's cadmium yellow medium and light. And some in paint pigments, I was never crazy about that kind of color in its raw state. Is better for mixing, because it does have kind of a harsh feel to it. But I love it here. Just love it here. It's a great color. Again, those sort of very dark navy leaves with little bits of a lighter kind of, here almost looks more gray than blue. And then you've got these orange details now in a lot of the animals. There's the sloth. But again, those details in white that are dropping out to give it that sort of negative look. The leopard. Let's see if I can get a better leopard shot there. The leopard on that big leaf. Or it's a tiny leopard. Like we're in Alice in Wonderland territory here with the proportions, right? Let's see. There's the monkey. I don't know if I showed the monkey. Somewhere on here there is the lizard gecko creature. And I would imagine the bird's in here too, although I can't see it right now. Yes, there's the bird. And so again, the peach tones picked up in the flowers. But really, I mean, such a gorgeous color. And when I first got this bag, this was a while ago, and I turned it inside out, and I took a picture of the lining, and I shared that. And everybody's response was, what is that pattern? Like initially they thought this was the exterior, and they were all over it. They wanted a bag in this pattern, in this on the outside. It is. It's gorgeous, and it's unusual. A little bit more unique. But again, wouldn't be as neutral then. And that is part of what's nice about this Rainforest Toile, this Toile version, is that it is neutral. Very versatile, I think. And I love the feel of performance twill. You know, it has such a luxurious feel. A little bit heavier in the cotton, I will say. It's a little bit heavier in the cotton. But it's nice, and it's nice to have that macro square quilting as a change from the regular size. Oops, I forgot about those. Those are my my store loyalty cards that are now on the floor. They were shoved in a pocket too. So I hope people found that helpful to just get a little close look at the Toile version in this pattern family, Rainforest Canopy. This is Rainforest Toile, Rainforest Canopy. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and hopefully see you next time on Vera Bradley Bag of the Day.